Hello, my name is Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
Hello, my name is Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our 3rd annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
Hello, my name is Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to take you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here in Central Texas, but from all around the nation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime. So we've got some special guests in here in the building with us. We got a lot to cover here today, folks. First off, we want to thank everybody for tuning in with us, whether that is on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV, or if you're watching with us on Facebook or the website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. Make sure you guys go over there and subscribe. Free subscription for both. Make sure you guys go in there and support us. Follow, like, and share this stream today, as we got a lot to talk about. We'll cover some NFL today. We'll cover some local topics here today as well, and we'll also be able to cover a little bit of the NBA free agency that has been going on the last few days. But joining me in studio today, like I said, folks, we got a very special guest. One of the newest Baylor commits, Mr. Devontrae Kirkland, is in the building with us. His pops, Cleo Kirkland, is in here with us as well. Fellas, what is going on? Thank you guys for both coming on the show with us here today.
Hey, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for having us come out and inviting Devontrae to the show.
Yeah.
To tell you a little bit about his journey. I just want to say just thank you guys for everything and just having us in today.
No problem, no problem. Well, folks, we'll jump straight right into it. Devontrae, man, you signed, committed to Baylor just a couple of weeks ago, man. Tell us a little bit about that process and how did you realize, okay, Baylor is the school for me that I want to stay at?
Of course, there was a lot of schools recruiting. A lot of people come down here to try to pull you in, but you really got to separate, like, the school from the people there. So Baylor, even though they're not big like an SEC, they still big in the Big 12, but they treat you like family over there. Every time me and my family went down there, they treated us like I was already committed and that we was already a part of the family. So it kind of stuck out like, oh, okay, they really want me here compared to other schools.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. We talked a little bit about the process of Baylor coming after you off camera a little bit. Pops, what was that recruitment process like for you guys? And I know you're huge in the football community here in Waco. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But how was that process of kind of letting him take his own direction and where he wants to go, but also still, being able to help him and guide him in different things?
Yeah, the recruitment process, man, it was really, 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 really stressful, and it came to the point where we had to actually, commit early. Mm-hmm. Devontrae has been on the recruiting stage since 7th grade year. Mm-hmm. He's going to be an incoming junior, so just going up and down the highways, during off season, heading up camps, and then just numerous calls from coaches, man, on a daily basis, going to the school, checking them out of class. It was just, a lot of stress, It's good stress because it's always good to have, because you know that they want your son to be a part of their program, to help them win. There is some kids that's out there that's still looking for a home, or trying to get recruited. So the recruiting process, man, is really, really, really stressful. And, man, we pretty much glad that it's kind of over. Coaches are still hitting them up on a daily basis right now, just trying to flip them. But right now he's locked in at Baylor.
No, that's huge, man. We talked a little bit off camera about, the impact of keeping, the local kids here at home and what the impact can be for Baylor and for the other kids in this community to be able to see, man, somebody from the same neighborhoods, from the same high school we went to can go on and play at their home school here at Baylor. Devontrae, what was that process like and committing there and then also joining some of your teammates there, your high school teammate right now, London Smith, committed there. Some other guys here in the city like Jamari and Vincent committed there as well. What is it like to be part of that and joining them at Baylor as well?
It's real big, especially we all played at the Southern Panthers together. We basically all grew up together. So just knowing that when I go there, I won't be the only one there, and that we'll all just be there. We all got one goal in common, and then we won't be separated by our school, especially since Jamarion's at Conley Williams University. We'll all be wearing the green and gold, so we'll all be playing for Baylor and trying to put on for our city. So that's a big piece for me.
No, for sure. Like you said, a lot of you guys grew up playing a lot of ball together. So, Cleo, I got to ask you, man, you've been one of the commissioner for the Southern Panthers for as long as I can remember, been a huge part of this city. For those of you that don't know what the Southern Panthers are organization, a youth football organization here in Waco that's been doing phenomenal things for years, years on out. Like Devontrae just pointed out, these guys have been playing with each other since they were kids, coming through a great program like that. Talk a little bit about the Southern Panthers, your involvement with the Southern Panthers, and how that's kind of helped shape kids like Devontrae, like London Smith, like Jamarian, to help grow what they are into now.
Man, the Southern Panthers has made me to the person, that I am. RIP Coach Mack, when on his deathbed, he left the organization to me and my wife, and then I granted and told him that, I will continue to live his legacy. So, Devontrae started, I actually played with the Waco Southern Panthers, along with LaDainian Thomason and a couple other of my buddies, so we've been, it's branded in us, I got the Waco Southern Panthers tatted on me, on my sleeve, so it's branded in us. So growing up, my kids that's all they knew, maroon and white. Devontrae started with the Waco Southern Panthers at 3 years old. We got, London Smith when he was came in at 10U, and then Jamarian Vincent at 12U. So the goal has always, when we started this, to get these student athletes free education. That was the main goal, to get them free education. So doing that, we pretty much did it. And then we just gonna continue to keep the ball rolling.
Definitely. Talk about a little bit about the talent that you've seen over the years. Like you said, we just named a few guys, but you've seen a lot of guys over the years that's come through this Southern Panthers program. But not only that program, just here in the greater Waco area in general, so many great athletes. Now we're starting to see this new generation with Devontrae and some other guys going on to play D1. But talk a little bit about the talent, because there's a lot of hidden talent, unfortunately, right here in Waco, Texas.
Yes, it's a lot of talent right here in Waco, Texas. A lot of the recruiters know. We was on a recruiting trip at Texas Tech, if I'm not mistaken, and one of the recruiters pulled us to the side and said, "Man, where are you guys from?" We told him Waco, Texas. He said, "Man, I haven't recruited there in 15 years. I'm glad that Waco U is back on track." But, man, it's a lot of kids that came through the Waco Southern Panthers. We don't like to, say, hey, we're the ones that did that, because at the end of the day, that student athlete and that parent are the ones who actually promoted them to get them to that next level. They were just blessed to come through our organization, and we, us coaches and volunteers, just, put them on the right path to be successful young men and get them to that next level, and just, we just grateful to be blessed to be a part of that.
Yeah, and you guys have been a huge impact in this community over the years, man. So it's been great to see you guys and actually get to cover you guys a couple of times over the last couple of years out there with the Southern Panthers. Devontrae, your class and maybe the class ahead of you, a couple of classes ahead of you, is what I've called kind of the resurgence of university football, man. Getting back to that time off camera, your pops talking about playing with LaDainian and those guys back in the day. But your class and a couple of other classes have been part of that resurgence at university. Talk a little bit what that's been like for you guys to be able to go in there and change the culture around, along with Coach K-Ron Johnson, who you'll be joining at Baylor, now Coach Foster and some other guys as well. What has that been like over the last few years?
Amazing. We always knew when all of us was together when we was little that our job was to go in there and change the U around for the better, especially since they had been in that losing streak. They turned it around as soon as Smitty got their freshman year, and then just adding on my class and me and Savoy and them, and we all just added on to it. It allowed the youth to completely flip.
Yeah.
So it's just been amazing to see the games go from empty to packed out there, everybody out there coming to support us, having the whole city on our back. It's just been amazing to see how big the U.S. became in South Waco.
Yeah, and you guys have a long storied history of alumni. One thing that's been consistent with university throughout the years is their fan support. You guys have a lot of fans around Waco, Texas. You can tell the guys will have their U-Dog shirts on from every age group, from young up until older, and seeing that. Now you guys are going back into the season. You've got a taste of the playoffs the last couple of years. Talk a little bit about some of the goals that Coach Foster and you guys as leaders on the team have for the team this upcoming season.
What we've been trying to do, especially since I've got there, is win a district championship for sure. just being able to lift that gold ball up, especially if we down here, it would just be amazing. And then for sure, try to go deeper in the playoffs, try to get third, fourth round, play on Thanksgiving. Everybody go for a state championship, but it's just going to come with it. We just got to play our hardest, but mainly we're just trying to get a district championship.
No, that's big, man. Being able to turn around the program like you guys have. First off, starting with that district championship, that'll solidify you guys in the history books. Those are the trophies and the banners and the things that get to stay throughout university to the end of time. So that'll be huge for you guys. You and along with a couple of your teammates and some other guys that came through the Southern Panthers got a chance to help out with the camp that you guys had this past weekend. Talk a little bit about Devontrae, what it's like seeing these younger kids, and you remember yourself being in that situation. Now these guys are looking up to you and looking up to your teammates and contemporaries on how they can be when they get a little bit older. What has that been like?
Just amazing, because when I was young, it's always we look up to the big kids. We want to be like them when we grow up. And now it's done changed around. They want to be like us. So it's just amazing to see that we have such an influence on these kids and that they're so excited to come see us play, because you think it's only the famous people. But when you go out there, they treat you just like you one of the NFL stars. So it's just been amazing to see how you can influence the kids, even though you still a kid yourself.
Yeah. No, that's always big, man. When kids can see it and see somebody doing it and see somebody doing the things that they want to accomplish later on in their life, that's coming right from in their community, coming from the same high school they want to go to, coming from the Southern Panthers like you guys have done. I think it was either last week or the week before I saw you got an invite to the Navy All-American game, man. Talk about what that process was like, hearing that, figuring that out, and then talk about your excitement of wanting to play in this game.
Well, first of all, my dad and my little brother couldn't come because my little brother had a track meet. So it was just me and my mama going down there. I knew I had to go put on a show by myself since my dad wasn't there. So I knew I had to put it on even though he wasn't going to be there. But it was just amazing to go down there and play against some of the best kids. And then just being able to solidify my spot in the history books down here, being one of the only two people to make it to the All-American game. So it's just going to be exciting to go down there and play and put Waco on the map and let everybody know where we come from and how we play down here.
Definitely. You guys are doing a great job of doing that and putting Waco on the map. Devontrae, talk a little bit about, the influence and relationship that your pops has been able to have with you and your football journey. Because like I said, he's been a part of this football community in Waco for years now. And getting that advice, getting that knowledge from him and how to kind of take your path, even though he's letting you do your own path. But talk a little bit about his influence and how he's been able to help you in your career so far.
He's a great dad. I mean, he could be repetitive at times, saying the same thing over and over. But it's the things you need to hear. So, of course, he's been a great dad to me. He's just always been supportive. I can count on my hands how many games he's missed. He don't miss that many games. He don't miss nothing for me and my little brother. And he's just always there pushing us to be the best we can and telling us what we need to hear, even when we don't want to hear it.
No, definitely. And Pops, I know that journey has been a little bit different from you, going from coaching your son to now watching other people coach your son and seeing him take his own process and going off to Baylor in a couple of years now. How's that process been for you?
Man, the process is hard because, when I had kids, I always told myself, I didn't have the dad there to make it to my football games or practices because, growing up, how we came up, food had to be put on the table.
For sure.
So, the Lord blessed me and my wife to be able to, make it to his practices. I try to make sure that I make all practices. We talk about practice. Practice, so I try to make sure that I make all their practices, both boys. And then I usually beat the bus, to the field on Friday night lights. When it's Friday night, I take off. And I usually try to make sure that I'm there. So it's, just making sure and letting them know that, man, it's an ugly world out there. You know what I mean? Once you get out there, because once you get to that next level, dad is still going to be there. But now you're going to have a whole set of different coaches there telling you exactly what to do and to make sure that he's prepared. Make sure he's prepared for that next level, because at the end of the day, it's a job. You got to be coming to your job ready to work, because otherwise they're bringing somebody else in that following year that's going to want your job. So you got to be able to compete, wake up, not Monday through Friday, but Monday through Sunday, ready to work. Even though you're tired, you still got to go to work,
No, definitely. And that's huge, being able to help him out. And that influence, like you said, telling them the different things about the world and how it's going to be once you get out of high school, once you get into college, and then even beyond that. So definitely that's always huge in helping the kids out. Devontrae, who are some players that you like watching, whether that's on the collegiate level or whether that is on the pro level, that you kind of see and like, oh, I can take some things from his game and I can take some things from his game?
The two main players I usually watch is either Brian Dawkins or Caleb Downs. Both great players, and they both play the type of role I'm trying to fit into this year. Being able to play the box, but also being out there, being able to go out there and lock down somebody's number one wide receiver and shut down half the field. So just being able to play all across the field. So I try to model my game after them.
No, definitely. And, man, I love both of those player comps. I think Caleb Downs one of the best players in the country right now in college football. Yeah. And then the B. Dawkins one made me smile a little bit, man, because it's a lot of guys in the age group might not have watched a lot of B. Dawkins growing up, but he's obviously a great guy to try to model some of your game after. Don't know what pro teams you guys like to watch in and out. Cleo, I don't know if you guys are Cowboys fans. It's hit or miss here in Waco. Either they love the Cowboys or they hate the Cowboys. Going in and out of Sunday. Devontrae, the Cowboys your team too, or you kind of taking up to them? So two Cowboys fans going in there. You guys excited? I don't know if you guys have got a chance to catch any of their games in person or anything like that, but are you excited for their upcoming season coming up in the fall? No, they open up against Philly, so.
Well, if they live in my household, they got to be Cowboys fans. But before the boys got started in football, man, some of my college buddies that I played ball with, we always used to go down to the preseason games. Yeah. And that was just a brotherhood deal that, we take a limo down and catch a preseason game. So, yeah, we're very, very excited for the Cowboy season this year to kick off, and just see how they go this year. Yeah, no, definitely. It should be an exciting season for all levels of football, really, here in the Central Texas area. Baylor's got a huge home opener on August 29th. They had a blackout game. I see the billboards are up now and stuff like that. Are you excited to be able to catch a couple of those games for this upcoming season for sure?
Yes, I'm ready. They're gonna shock the world this year, man.
Hey, I'm right with you, man. I'll be right there in support, cheering Baylor on as they open up against Auburn. I believe, like I said, that's on the 29th, Friday night light game, so it might take a little bit away from some of the high school games going on here in town, but the city of Waco will be on fire for that opening weekend for sure. Fellas, I want to thank you guys for coming on here with us and talking for a little bit. Like you said, Southern Panthers coming up this upcoming season. Excited to watch you guys this season. Devontrae, super excited to watch you guys at the U be able to put on this year and what you guys are able to do. Want to thank you both for taking some time out and coming on here with us to talk for a little bit, man. Thanks to both of you guys.
I appreciate you having us out. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Folks, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, still have more to cover here on Centex Primetime. We'll talk some more local news, and then we'll jump over to some NFL and talk about what's been going on in free agency with that. So stay tuned and stay locked in with us here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. The feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. The feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. The feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the results.
Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis still here. We just got done wrapping up talking to Devontrae Kirkland, the 4-star Baylor commit out of Waco University, man. Can't wait to watch those guys this upcoming season at university. And in a couple of years, can't wait to watch them playing for those Baylor Bears. Like we said, folks, they got a blackout game August 29th. Hope y'all are getting your tickets and everything right now, because that game is definitely going to be sold out if you're not already at a high school football game, because I think that's the opener for high school football as well here in the Central Texas area. Like I said, that Friday is going to be on fire here in Waco with Baylor going and all the different high schools going at the same time. Super excited about that. I want to thank Devontrae and his dad, Cleo, for coming on here with us once again. Like I said, folks, we got plenty to talk about here today on Centex Primetime, as a multitude of signings have happened on the NBA level. On the NFL level, we're getting a little bit of drama as well, and also as well in local news. We have other things kicking up with us as well. So we got a few different topics we got to jump into here today on Centex Primetime. Joining me here in studio, we've got the WISD Hall of Famer, Texas Tech Red Raider, and former San Diego Charger, Mr. Wayne Walker himself in the building with us. Wayne, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Jalen, in Central Texas?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And got a chance, you were out there wrapping up with Cleo and his son for a little bit as well, man, and getting a chance to talk to him and seeing that next generation of guys that's going to be following in your and a lot of other guys' footsteps, taking that next level, playing a D1 football, and eventually hoping to play at the NFL level as well. What is it like seeing, and I know you've been a mentor to a lot of these guys over the years, man, and seeing this next generation of guys coming out of Waco and heading to that next level?
Well, like a kid like Devontrae. Devontrae was in a program of mine at South Waco Community Center. I wasn't directly involved with him, but I seen his discipline. I seen the way Cleo and him had a plan laid out for him to get to be put in the situation that he's in now, and that's to get a scholarship. But a good kid, great kid, comes from great parents. And the best thing about I love his little brother, man. His little brother, that's my boy, So, yeah, man, it's exciting, man, to see these kids get an opportunity to go on and make something of their futures. I had mine, and that's behind, but it's good to see the new generation come in and resemble and do the same things and do it even better, because back then it was a little harder. Nowadays it's a little easier, but it is still it's a little harder because now you're taking all the people coming from the NIL, the transfer portal, and they making an emphasis on that and not so much the high school seniors that are coming out. Yeah. So they put more emphasis on the portal than they are high school recruiting. So it's more difficult. So for him to get an opportunity, as a sophomore to commit, man, that's a lovely thing.
No, definitely. To be able to get that out the way, his dad was on there and he said, that sometimes it's a stressful process, and finding the schools, a lot of schools contacting you all day. Every coach wants to be able to get same amount of time as the other coaches got in, and process that you went through as well. So, I mean, I know they're glad to have that out of the way, and now they can just focus on football, focus on him finishing school. And already doing great. His dad told me he's already got college hours and all that kind of stuff already set aside. So that's a great thing to see him be able to get that early commitment and going off and being able to stay home, man, and playing for the hometown team. And these Baylor Bears, I know they just had a camp this past weekend with the Southern Panthers where they get a chance. A lot of the top recruits in the city came out there and got a chance to sit with some of those kids and help some of those kids out in different camps and drills. And man, that's big for those kids to be able to see that and to visualize somebody from my community, somebody from my city. What can I become whenever I get to this age and doing that? So that's always huge.
No doubt. You just don't know how big that is for those young kids to get out there and get with the older kids, because everybody idolizes somebody. Yeah, it's somebody that you feel like you want to be like, and you like their game and you like the way they play. So for me, when I was a young kid, and watching the high school guys, man, those guys were my idol because I went to see Friday Night Football, and it was talked about, and so I had idols, so I know that those young kids in the same situation.
For sure.
And man, it's great that they get an opportunity to go out there and work with some of the guys that they see on Friday nights, and get to learn from those guys.
No, that's always huge. Being able to give back to your community, being an influence, a positive influence for the kids in this city, man. And I'm excited to see the U-Dogs, like I told them, and what they can do this season. I think they have one of the more exciting high school teams here in the area. A lot of four-star guys, future four-star guys on that team as well. So I'm excited to see what they can do and how they fare against the competition. They got a tough schedule this upcoming season, but I'm ready to see how they can fare against their competition this upcoming season in high school football.
No doubt. You're exactly right, man. They've been trending up for about the last 3 years. Hadn't been able to get it done in the playoffs when they get to the playoffs, but the expectations that they have this year are even. They set the bar even higher, and they want to at least get some wins in the playoff. And like you say, when it's week 0, everybody is in the same level. Everybody's on the same level. Everybody at the same amount of wins and losses, 0-0. So now you just have to go out between the white lines and get it done. So that's what they're going to have to do. But I expect good things from University. I'm excited to see them play.
Yeah, shout out to the U-Dogs, man. And Coach Foster, we'll try to get back in touch with him and get him back on the show definitely before the season starts and kicks off there. Folks, I want to talk a little bit of football news. They kind of have stolen some headlines away from the NBA. The NBA free agency, I believe, starts tonight at midnight. So we'll have a lot of stories.
It started at 6 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, 6 p.m. Yeah, it starts at 6 p.m. and it's really already started.
It's
We've already seen
started,
numbers going up, different guys getting different contracts. But NFL stole a little bit of headlines away from them as we've got a somewhat blockbuster trade as the Pittsburgh Steelers are trading for Jalen Ramsey. He's going to join that steel curtain. Jalen Ramsey, a guy that's a multiple-time All-Pro and Pro Bowler in the NFL as well. And, man, I really – when I first seen it, I said, okay, maybe the Steelers, they're trying to build on something to do something here. Then the details came out a little bit further of the trade, and I seen that they're sending Minkah Fitzpatrick back to Miami for that Jalen Ramsey trade. And, Wayne, what was your thoughts when you first seen this deal going off? I think the full details are the Steelers will get Jalen Ramsey, tight end Jonnu Smith, and a 7th-round pick, I believe, and the Dolphins will be receiving Minkah Fitzpatrick, who they drafted when he came out of Alabama, along with the 5th-round pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wayne, what do you think about this big deal with two different stars swapping and trading cities here?
Man, hey, advantage Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I mean, you knew Jalen Ramsey was going to get traded. They've been talking about it all summer, since the season ended, rather. And you knew he was going somewhere, and thoughts were that he was going to the Rams, going back to the Rams. But the Rams hadn't said anything. Pittsburgh made it clear about what they wanted to do. And Pittsburgh playing a division where they have so many receivers. I mean, you playing a division that has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in it. So you better go and be top heavy on the cornerback side. And Jalen Ramsey gives them a chance to compete and to cover those guys, especially when you bring in a guy like Darius Slay on the other side.
Yeah.
So you got 2 top-level cornerbacks, man, and then you got a top-ranked pass rusher in T.J. Watt that hadn't re-signed, but I'm sure they'll get that done. But advantage Pittsburgh, man. They trying to put it all out on the line since they got Aaron Rodgers, and he said he was going to be he's going to be in there for 1 year. But Pittsburgh looking pretty good. They've made some moves this offseason.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's been busy.
Yeah, and then they go out and get a tight end that almost had 1,000 yards, one of the best tight ends in the league that played for the offense coordinator, Arthur Smith. So, I mean, you got a guy that knows his personnel, knows what he can do best, and is going to put him in a better situation than he probably was in Miami. So, advantage Pittsburgh, man.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh definitely helped their team out with this trade. When I first saw it, like I said, I was thinking of the whole secondary, Jalen Ramsey and going out there, Minkah Fitzpatrick and They drafted Joey Porter Jr. a couple of years ago, added Darius Slay, but then I seen Minka is headed back to Miami. That was kind of a little bit of a down in the trade, but when I seen that Jonnu Smith was also added in on that, I said, okay, now this is a great deal for Pittsburgh. For one, there's talks already of Jalen Ramsey potentially sitting sometime at safety as well because they already have Joey Porter Jr. and Darius Slay on the outside. But he's mainly there to play that nickel back or that star position, whichever one people like to call it now, because that's what he really thrived in, especially when he was in L.A. He really thrived playing that kind of nickelback role. He's a bigger corner, so now he can split time between nickelback and safety. Adding Jonnu Smith, like you brought up, he had his best time and his most success with Arthur Smith in Tennessee with those guys. And then adding him into a tight end room that's already got Pat Freiermuth, who's a young up-and-coming tight end, and I think is going to be really utilized. And then adding another tight end to play with Aaron Rodgers, who historically over the years loves playing out of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, a back and a couple of receivers out there on the outside. You add that in, I think that's a huge, huge piece because Pittsburgh, whether they got Jalen Ramsey or not, their defense was going to be good this year. Their offense is where we've had a lot of the question marks. Adding Aaron Rodgers obviously helps that out. But now adding in another target in Jonnu Smith, man, Aaron Rodgers loves throwing the tight ends. Look at his history of tight ends that he's gotten paid over the last 15 years.
With a reliable receiver like a DK Metcalf that's a bully himself.
Absolutely.
And you know what Arthur Smith likes to do. He likes to run the ball.
Absolutely.
So I've always been a believer that the run sets up the pass. And so when you have reliable tight ends that can block and that can pass catch, and you can run the ball, and then you have a beast out there at wideout, man, hey, Pittsburgh offense is looking better and better.
Yeah, they're starting to look a little scary. I'm interested to see what if they make any more moves to try to help out that offensive line some, because I think that's where a lot of their struggles came from. But like you said, the amount of physicality that they'll have on this team with DK, a big tight end like Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth. You drafted Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, who was one of the most physical backs in this draft, to go along with some of the other guys that you have in Pittsburgh. This Pittsburgh team is looking a little bit different, man. And Aaron Rodgers came out and said, hey, this is my last year. This is it. This is my farewell. And Pittsburgh, I think, knows that. And they're saying, we need to try to push some of these chips to the front and get guys. While we have a future Hall of Famer at quarterback, let's try to solidify some of these other spots and make sure that we're going to be competitive, because the AFC North is brutal. We know what that is like. They've got the Ravens and all the additions that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have made over this season, and they're looking really good, especially them adding Jair Alexander last week into that fold as well. Then you've also got the Cincinnati Bengals, who are trying to be on the uptick with what they're doing with Jamar Chase. They re-signed him and T. Higgins and those guys. So they've got to be competitive in this AFC North. Adding a DB, like you said, obviously helps that because, man, you got to defend Jamar Chase and DeAndre Hopkins is in this division now, all these different guys in that division.
Yeah, so it's like I said, advantage Pittsburgh. They going out and doing some things, and we'll see how it translates. But you know the top team in that division is in their conference is Baltimore. So you have to get better to compete against them, and you have to get better to compete against a Cincinnati team that was this close to making the playoffs, that kind of like won their last 6 or 7 games. So. And they're pass heavy, and they throw more than anybody. So you have to be able to defend these guys. So Pittsburgh has always been a great defensive team, and they just got better today when they brought in Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, with this trade now, getting Jalen Ramsey, you think that puts Pittsburgh in that top 5, top 4-ish area in the AFC? Because there's only going to be 7 spots. You get the 4 division winners and then those 3 wild card spots going in. Does this now help them and tick them up in your mind of, okay, I can see them as a playoff team, maybe if they're not even winning their division, because like you said, Baltimore right now is a superpower within that division. But does this put them as one of those teams of, okay, yeah, I can see the Steelers making some noise now in the playoffs?
Jalen, I think it does move the needle a little bit, because you think about it, Pittsburgh has been to the playoffs. Last year, they won basically without offensive play. They won with their defense. And I think their defense just got better. If they can go out and duplicate what they did last year on defense, which I think they'll be better because you have a pass rush. Anytime you have a pass rush and then you have lockdown defenders, man, you always have opportunity. And the old saying is defense wins championships. So anytime you have a defense, it'll put you because if a team can't score, then that means you're shutting them down. You're turning you're turning field position, and you can kick field goals. So long as you're in that position, defense wins. Defense wins championships all the time, and I think Pittsburgh has a defense that was better than last year, and I think they're going to be better offensively where they can put themselves in position.
Absolutely.
But like I said, I think Baltimore is the top team in their division, and Cincinnati is. I think it'll come down to Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. But the one thing about Cincinnati doesn't have a defense. So I would say Baltimore than Pittsburgh. To me.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think they're clearly ahead of Cincinnati to me, even though Cincinnati does have that dynamic offense. They're the worst defense in the league, and their best player, Trey Hendrickson, on the defense, they can't get him signed to come back to the defense. So I don't see that defensive side getting any better. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they hang their hat on the defensive end. Their best player, T.J. Watt, has been absent from all mini camps so far because they, in contract disputes or contract negotiations right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The last couple of weeks, a lot of teams have been putting their name in the hat, trying to make some offers for T.J. Watt, and it's now expected to uptick some more now with them getting rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's one of the captains on their defense. Do you think Pittsburgh gets a deal done, or do they start maybe listening to some of these offers that teams are putting out for T.J. Watt?
No, you don't. When you have an elite pass rusher, no, you don't even listen. I mean, he has been basically he's done his job the last 5 to 6 years. A guy that's been an All-Pro for the last 5 years. No, you don't listen to it because pass rushers are hard to find, man. Yeah. Elite pass rushers.
Elite.
And they have one, so he'll get signed. Believe that.
Yeah, I think they'll find a way to make a deal with their star guy. Pittsburgh is usually a team that takes care of their stars, and T.J. Watt, obviously, their best player, probably on the team for the last, like you said, 4 or 5 years. This guy's been an All-Pro. He's right there. I think him and Myles Garrett are right there, almost tied with each other for the most sacks in the last 5 or 6 years. So T.J. Watt, an elite player, and if they add him, which I believe they will, back to this defense, man, Pittsburgh defense, we'll have to start looking at this team and kind of thinking about them a little bit differently. Like you said, if you can just avoid turning the football over, which was mainly their problem last year. Last year they had a decent defense and a pretty decent run game, but they had turnovers that hurt them in inopportune times. If they take away that, man, this Pittsburgh team is starting to look a little bit scary. Right now, folks, it is kind of the dead time between NFL talks. It's that time right in between mini camp and training camp where a lot of players are taking time off, guys are at home for a little bit, and it'll start to uptick some more as we get closer and closer to the season. But they're ramping up the headlines as Jalen Ramsey is now headed out to Pittsburgh to try to bring back the Steel Curtain defense. I've seen over the last couple of weeks some guys talking about some of the teams in the NFL, one of them obviously being the Kansas City Chiefs. And I can't remember who it was on ESPN that came out. I think it might have been Chris Canty that said Patrick Mahomes is one more regular or / mediocre regular season away from not being considered the top quarterback in the NFL. Now, to some points, I agree with him, but to some other points, we know all the intangibles that Patrick Mahomes brings with him to a team. But over the last couple of years, really since they let go of Tyreek Hill, he's had some middle-of-the-pack type of seasons. Do you see this as a season? Now they're getting Rashee Rice back. Xavier Worthy is going to be in year 2. I think Hollywood Brown is coming back into the fold. Travis Kelce, this could potentially be his last year. Do you see Mahomes ticking up his play a little bit in the regular season? We know what he brings to the postseason because he's shown that the last 7 postseasons in a row haven't been anywhere less than the AFC Championship. But do you think he'll try to get some of his numbers up in the regular season, this next up-and-coming regular season?
Well, it depends on personnel. The biggest thing that the Kansas City Chiefs need to do, and it's not just Patrick Mahomes, we know he can sling it. But slinging it just ain't enough because you have to have pass protection, and they were decimated on the line and bullied on the line last year, and I think that was their problem, which caused them to play a whole different type of offense, which caused them to throw more screens, to try to run the ball, short passes, and using a lot of motion and all that type of stuff. So when you're not able to pass protect, it makes you change your whole offensive scheme. Patrick Mahomes wants to throw the ball down the field. So if they can get that protection, they got the guys. They got Rice back. They got Marquise Brown, and these guys can stretch the field, but you have to have protection to stretch the field.
Yeah.
So and Worthy. So I mean, you got these speedsters on that side, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to sling the ball down the field. When he had a Tyreek Hill, that's what he was doing.
Exactly.
But if you can't protect and you can't pass protect, then it's that's out the window. You don't get that. So
I agree. I think the pass protection is not only important for his stats, but for the future of this Kansas City Chiefs dynasty. I think the time they got beat in Tampa Bay, the 2 Super Bowls they lost have been pretty lopsided. The time they got beat in Tampa Bay, Patrick Mahomes was on the ground the entire game. The offensive line couldn't protect. We look back at last year. Mahomes, it really wasn't anything he could do to try to have that Herculean effort and get them over the top because they couldn't protect this guy. If they don't get this offensive line together this next upcoming season, I think they're on the verge of kind of losing some steam with this dynasty that they built over the last couple of years because if you can't protect them, like you said, those routes can't get time to develop downfield to an Xavier Worthy, to a Rashee Rice or a Marquise Brown because he got to get the ball out of his hands so quick. Like you said, by the second half of the season last year, the offense was almost changed. We saw so many screens and so many 5-yard passes, drag routes, little 5-yard outs instead of when Mahomes first came on the scene. I mean, it was bombs away over the top each and every week and each and every week.
So it causes you to change your offense, and then with 2 up-and-coming teams in their division, with the Chargers and the Broncos who both went to the playoffs last year.
Absolutely.
And hey, you better start to fix those problems now. I'm telling you, man, those 2 teams are going to be tough to beat, and they're young teams.
Yes.
You know, and when you have young, hungry teams with 2 excellent coaches in your same division, man, you know it's going to be a dogfight throughout.
The AFC West is going to be a battle each and every week. I know the Raiders kind of tail that off, but those top 3 teams in that division, I mean, you're not going to find a better division than that in football. Like you said, not only is the personnel great, but the coaching battle each and every week, and now adding the Pete Carroll into that mix, and the coaching battles that are going to go on in the AFC West each and every week. I love what the Chargers did in the draft and in their offseason this year. Jim Harbaugh really knows how to make his mark and his imprint on a team and build it to the way that he likes to build his team. Same thing with Sean Payton in Denver. He knows how he likes to build his teams. I think both of those guys have kind of tailored those teams and their personnel around what they want to try to do now that they're both in their second and third year in that division. Mahomes doesn't have any type of easy battle going in each and every week in the AFC West, playing against those guys each and every week.
And see, with those guys, they draft is tailored to the way they coach and what they need personnel-wise. You seen Sean Payton come from one year where you thought, man, there's no way Denver is going to get back in this thing. They're coming back and making a playoff. You seen the Chargers take 1 or 2 years where they had great personnel and they couldn't really get the job done. And then here you go and you bring Harbaugh in and then they make the playoffs. But these guys, they draft depending on the way they coach. They draft what they need. They want big physical and they want defense. Well, I know Harbaugh is a defensive guy and he wants to run the ball. He wants to play physical. So he drafts that way. Sean Payton, he is a guy that's kind of a multi-purpose coach as far as offense, but he likes to sling the ball down the field. Yeah. But he also likes to run. So he's just a balanced type of offensive guy, and he drafts that way. So, man, it's going to be interesting in that AFC West.
Yeah, the AFC West is loaded, man. I can't wait to watch some of those games. I feel like every team got better, including the Raiders. The Raiders at the bottom of that division, but even they got better.
Yeah, and you know the guy that they brought in. He's not gonna stay pat. He's a successful coach that's won a college football championship and won a Super Bowl. So this guy's not. I mean, he's gonna rebuild. And Pete Carroll is no joke as well. So you have probably 4 of the best coaches in one division.
Yes.
In all of in the NFL. So all these guys are proven. And these guys, everybody has won something.
Yeah.
Everybody has won something in their division. Either Sean Payton won a Super Bowl. Andy Reid won a Super Bowl. Pete Carroll's won a Super Bowl. Jim Harbaugh hadn't won a Super Bowl, but he's been there before with San Francisco.
Absolutely.
And he won
2012.
and he won an NCAA college championship. So you got some successful coaches in
Very
the AFC
successful.
West. So.
A lot of game planning that's going to go into that. I mean, that's going to be a real. It's almost a second battle with just the coaches outside of the field going on in the AFC West, man. So they've got a lot of promise in that AFC West, and the Chiefs. Like I said, I've been picking this year to be their year that they're not going to win that AFC West, but we got some more time before I make my prediction on if they go in their division.
Let the summer play out. Let OTAs play out a little bit, Jalen, before we start making predictions, because a lot could happen between now and September, believe me.
A lot can happen in that time, so I'm going to be keeping my eye on them. One more team in the AFC before we switch off to the NFL that I'm keeping my eye on. Is this the year that Josh Allen, in your opinion, can finally have that breakthrough? They made some changes to their roster. Everybody last year kind of thought their offense was going to fall off when they lost Diggs. He comes back out and wins the MVP. This is going to be the second year now for a young receiver like Keon Coleman. Khalil Shakir kind of stepped up in that number one receiver type of role for them last year. James Cook played like one of the best backs in the league last year. Now they added a Joey Bosa to that defense to help on the edge, on the outside there if he can stay healthy. Do you think the Bills have enough to finally get over the hump in the AFC? Because there's multiple teams in the AFC that I feel like got really a lot better in this offseason.
The AFC is going to be tough, man.
It is.
This is going to be the most competitive AFC that I've seen because not only did Buffalo get better, but Baltimore got better.
A lot better. Baltimore got a lot better.
Kansas City went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, and then you got some up-and-coming teams already in that division. With, like I said, we just mentioned the Chargers in Denver that played well. Man, the AFC is going to be tough. And basically, I'm not making any predictions now I'm going to name my top three teams. And then you got Cincinnati that's going to be in there. We talk about Pittsburgh that made some, that's making moves. So, but all I'm going to say is it's going to be Buffalo. I say it's going to be Baltimore. It's going to be Kansas City. It's going to be in the thick of things. Pittsburgh going to be in the thick of things as well. So, man, it just depends on injuries. It's a lot of things that go into having a successful year. So we'll see, man. But we'll say that type of stuff for later, for sure.
When we get closer to time.
But I don't know if Buffalo right now, they got better because anytime you add a Bosa, then you bolster your defense up. And you had success last year doing what you're doing without Diggs, and then you got young guys that's only going to mature once they go through a season and they see what the NFL season is really like, and then you start to work out and gear yourself toward another season. You only get better, so they're going to be better in some of those situations and some of those spots, but. Man, it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah, the AFC is going to be tough because you still got the young up-and-coming teams like you named, like the Chargers. The Texans got better. I feel like added some guys in the offseason. The Patriots had, I think, probably the best offseason. I don't know how quickly it'll translate into wins, but they probably had maybe the best offseason out of any team in this year, especially with solidifying their coach Mike Vrabel. So, man, the AFC is going to be loaded this year, and I can't wait to be able to watch some of these games. Like Wayne said, we'll talk more about that as we get closer to training camp and start making some of our predictions. I want to hit a couple local topics here before we switch over to some NBA. Jamarian Carlton, who is one of the top players, rated by a lot of people, the top player in Texas coming out in high school this year, playing right down the street at Temple High School, says he will make his announcement for his commitment on July 10th on what school he's going to go to. He's narrowed it down to his top 4 teams now. Top 4 teams he has, the University of Texas, he's got Texas Tech, he's got LSU, and he's got Baylor. Obviously, I love Baylor being on that list with those guys and made it into his top 4 teams for the top prospect coming out of Texas. But in my opinion, this is kind of looking at the top money spenders in NIL in this area, and that is the University of Texas and your alma mater in Texas Tech, who have been spending the bag this last couple of seasons, man. Talk about what not just those guys and those teams that he has in there and what they've been doing in college football.
We're in a different era today. I mean, it's not the fact that you can go help a team out or you can go and play and you see yourself in this position or whatever. Now it's about who's got the most money. And you have to look at it that way too, though. You have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
especially if you come from economically
challenged area.
Yeah, challenged area or family or whatever in your parents' finances. But as young black athletes, especially, man, if you can get it, you get it.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they're offering it and it gives you a chance to secure your family, because that's what you go to college for anyway. You go to college to get you a degree, to get you a good job, to where you know. So my deal is if you can get it, you get it.
Absolutely.
You know, and you have an opportunity to do something that back in the day I would have done for free. If I could have went and played football, I would have went and done it for free. That's how much I love the game. And now you've taken the emphasis off of that, and now it's all about the money. So, I mean, as a young guy, if you can go get it, secure your family, you know, put you some money back. If you can go get $4 million, you go get that $4 million.
You got
man.
to.
You have
got
to.
Yeah,
and then you still have opportunities to go and make more money. So, man, you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, I'm for these kids now, man, making some generational money I'm talking about at an early age, 17, 18 years old. You're watching these guys at these top schools like a Texas Tech, these schools that are spending a lot of money, the Ohio States, the Miami's been big in NIL this year. Man, these guys are getting a chance to change their life and change their future, change their immediate future. The opportunity that you guys coming out of college, going into college, didn't have the chance to do to change your immediate future right now is a little bit different. And seeing what now these kids are getting to sign up for different deals. We're seeing the kid in BYU in basketball getting a reported $7 million NIL deal to come out there. I mean, this is big time money coming to a lot of these schools now and changing a lot of these kids' lives, and it's changing the perspective and the landscape of who are the top teams.
The whole narrative has changed as far as college athletes, and especially being a star, man. I mean, man, if you had an opportunity to go out and get it and it's there, you go out and get it, man. I you know, a lot of people saying it's changing the game and this, that, and other. But, man, when you come from a economically challenged family and community and this, that, and other, and you can go out and you can get you $1 million a year, you go out and take that money.
You got to. You have to be able to
it,
go out there and do that. So we're seeing kids. It's changing the landscape of how we view different teams. Now I'm seeing Texas Tech each and every week is rising as far as their odds to win the Big 12, to make the college football playoffs, to do all these different things. We watched them do it in softball. We watched them go out and pay way over market for what other teams were paying. And where do they end up? In the championship game. Now on the football side of it, there's more pieces that have to be involved than maybe a softball. But, man, Texas Tech is making those pieces and making those changes.
Yeah, they are. And the only problem I have with it is they wasn't doing it when I was back at Texas Tech, man. 'Cause I mean,
hey,
after
you get freshman All-American, I think you probably can change your asking price a little bit from what you're going to be required.
Exactly. You know, and you know, being a top recruit, a top 30 recruit in the state of Texas, and their top recruit, man, you know, during that time, man, but I love it for these young guys. I'm glad they got the opportunity to get it. So.
No, definitely. It's big for these guys to be able to do it. And like you said, a lot of people say, oh, well, college football or college sports are a little bit different. Sometimes there's a necessary change that has to happen.
It happened. I mean, you think about these colleges, they're going out and making millions and millions and millions of dollars on these guys,
Hundreds of millions.
And you don't get none of it. You get an education.
Yeah.
Well, you give me my money, I can pay for my education.
Exactly. I can pay for a degree after y'all give me the couple million.
Yeah,
I mean, hundreds of millions that these organizations
even if it's at
the
University of Phoenix. I can go online
wherever
and
it's
do
at,
mine,
you can send me ICDC like Bow Wow used to have. Wherever you send me there for if y'all going to give me $2-3 million. But no, it's a necessary change that's happening, and these kids deserve to make their money, man. Nobody should make somebody else hundreds of millions and you get nothing. We don't want that for whether it's sports or any type of venture in life. That's a bad deal. Everybody would agree that that's a bad deal. So now these guys coming in and doing that, I think that's big for them. The Baylor Bears have a couple of guys that made the All-American team, preseason All-American. Keaton Thomas being the main guy, made a preseason All-American team. But they've got, I think, at least 8 guys that made the All Big 12 preseason team. Sawyer Robinson included in that, along with Keaton Thomas, Josh Cameron, who had a phenomenal year last year, Jackie Marshall, who had a really good breakout year for them, and Bryson Washington, who comes right out of this Central Texas area, all named Big 12 preseason All-Americans for the year. What does that mean for Baylor having this many preseason All-Americans and kind of having a little bit of expectation, something the Baylor Bears haven't had over the last couple of years going into the season?
It raises expectations, man.
It does.
When you put on one of those lists, and I know for a fact because I was put on those lists, but it made me want to go out and be a better player, and it made me want to prove that I was worthy of being on that list. So for those guys, it's good. And you just got to go out and handle business. But that's good because those last 7 or 8 games with Baylor, man, Baylor played outstanding. They played better than anybody in the country to me. And so when you have guys that are getting put on those lists, that means you have guys that went out there and produced, and you expect them to do more this year. So look for Baylor to be in one of them top 3-4 teams in the conference next year. But they went out and played hard, and this is after you heard all the chatter about their coach going to be fired.
Absolutely.
And this was his last year. So for those guys to go out and play despite all of that, man, hey, he did a wonderful job with him, and I look for big things out of Baylor this year.
Yeah, I'm looking for a lot of big things out of Baylor this year. Like you said, that just adds to the expectation, but it's a good expectation going into the year. You rather have guys talking about you for the team that has potential to be good than the guys talking about you or you're going to get last place in this conference or last place in this division. So it's a good and necessary expectation getting put on them. Like you said, a lot of guys were calling for Coach Dave Aranda's job last year, especially after starting 2-3 or 2-4 in the season. A lot of guys were saying, hey, this could be Dave Aranda's last year. He, along with his coaching staff, have turned that entire narrative around now in just the last year of how everybody views Baylor, what the expectations are going into next year. So I like it. I like the Baylor's got a little bit of expectation on them. And the Big 12 is going to be some really good football getting played next year within the Big 12. We talked about teams like Texas Tech, talked about the Baylors, but you got the team that won it last year in Arizona State. They got Sam Levitt coming back. You got other teams in the Big 12 that have made some adjustments, teams like TCU, different guys. Houston got the number 1 dual threat quarterback in Texas is coming in as a freshman next year. So different teams are making moves, trying to position themselves to be able to take advantage of what is really a wide open Big 12 right now. Really the only Power 4 conference that you would consider anybody can win it. There's probably only a few teams in the SEC we think can win it. Same with the Big 10. ACC, everybody's got Clemson as their winner already. Big 12 is really the only one that's completely wide open as far as who can actually come out there and win that Big 12 championship this upcoming season.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's wide open. Nobody knows. Nobody's the favorite.
Yeah.
No one's a favorite right now. You have to make it a favorite, but then you look at the traditional teams that's always been good in that conference, and you say, hey, well, you know Iowa State is going to go out and play. You know Kansas State is going to be in there, you know. So you look at those type of teams. You say Texas Tech is buying a team and paying all this money, so you have to be good. You know Baylor has been traditionally good. TCU has been traditionally good. Then you still had an Oklahoma State who had a down year, but you know that's not going to last forever.
Yep.
So, I mean, you got the teams on the West Coast in Arizona and Arizona State and BYU that was in there and Utah. So, I mean, it really is no prohibitive favorite right now. So it's just wide open. It's wide open, and then you talk about Colorado with Deion. So it's just wide. It's just wide open football, and it just depends on how the season goes for everybody. And I'm betting on my Red Raiders to be somewhere up in there since you paid all these money to these guys. We have to go out and win.
Yeah.
Or you mess it up for everybody else. And if you pay out all this money and then you go out and win, then you secure the bag for the other guys that's coming after you, because now you saying, hey, man, they paid all this money and they paid for a team and they're winning. So now you can go out and you can get more guys and you have to pay more money, but they had the money to spend. So, hey.
Yeah, I mean, this is a make or break year for Texas Tech because of the money they spent. Like you said, that'll determine how their future is going to go. If they win, we're going to put the same amount of money, if not more, right back into the program next year and get some more guys to come. If they lose, they might transition and say, hey, maybe we'll spread the
It
money
didn't
out
work.
to some different places. And nobody wants to be the Florida State of last year. Last year, Florida State was really the first big money spender in the NIL, getting a lot of guys in the transfer portal, and it didn't work. It blew up in their face. So Texas Tech has the opportunity to come in and be the guys to change that narrative. Yeah.
If it works, then you continue to do it, and then you even put more money because you say, hey, man, it worked. We won the conference. We didn't win the national championship, but we got in there and we did this and we did that. So that's only if you win. But if you lose and it's not a success, then you say, well, I don't know if we want to do that again.
Yeah.
We paid all this money out to these guys to bring them in, and do we have to? Then you start thinking and you start second guessing, do we have the right coach? Did we do the right thing by blowing up and taking guys that we had already in starting roles and bringing guys in and to replace them? So it didn't work. So do we want to put more money into something that did work or whatever? So that's the narrative that you're gonna get when you go out and pay money for these guys and it don't work. But if it does work, you keep doing it.
You look great like Ohio State did last year. Everybody talked about how much money they paid. Well, it worked.
It worked. And it's just like our softball program. They went from being picked 6 in the conference to making it all the way to the national championship game. So that's a success. So what do? They go put more money into the program.
Right back into it.
It's either a negative or a positive. If it's a positive, you can continue doing it. If it's a negative, then you say, hey, you start having a whole bunch of questions about why did we do this and are we going to do it again?
Yeah, they like you said, this will change for how they want to go into this next year if this team is successful or not successful. And I think they have a great chance of being successful. I think it really depends on a lot of how Morton plays, their quarterback, out there at Texas Tech, because a lot of the other guys, they solidified spots coming. They got guys coming back like Corey Eakin at receiver, and Micah Hudson's back into the fold now at Texas Tech to add in with those other guys. They added a lot of guys on the defensive side. So I'm excited to see Texas Tech football and just to see this year, upcoming year of college football, because we're in a new era, folks, of college football now. Teams pretty much have a salary cap now is what it looks like out there with their spending money. And we'll see those impacts that it makes on college football this year. I want to go to some quick takes before we jump into the NBA. Like I said, NBA free agency has already kicked up and started. We've already seen 3 or 4 deals have already went forward and going, and we'll talk about that. But I want to jump into a couple of quick takes before we get into the NBA. First off, 4th of July is this weekend, man. Wayne, what are some of your 4th of July traditions that you got to do and you got to have for the 4th of July each and every single year? Everybody celebrates the 4th of July each year. You know, black people might celebrate a little bit different than everybody else. It's more of a party style with the way that we celebrate it every 4th. What are some of the traditions, though, you look forward to for the 4th every year?
Well, I have to have some type of barbecue in my life, man.
Has to be.
It has to be
That's
some
number
kind of
one on the
barbecue.
list.
And for a lot of years, we've had family reunions during that time. We won't have one this year, but somewhere around that time, we usually have a family reunion or something like that. But a must is a barbecue.
Has to be.
And some beer. And watching some type of fireworks show. Which has come a tradition for me and my kids to go out and to be able to go out, even if it's in Dallas or if in Waco, which I've been a number of places on 4th of July. You know, it's some type of firework display or a show that you go and you sit in the lawn chair and you just go out and you just enjoy the fireworks. So that's pretty much one for me. I have done baseball and looked at baseball on the 4th of July. I have went to a Rangers game on the 4th of July before. So, I mean, that's just some of the things. But the most important thing is just spend time with family, have fun, eat a little barbecue and drink a little beer, man. So that's what's good for
that's
me.
a staple. That's a staple. First off, like he named the first one right, man. The barbecue is a must. Everybody that's watching, if you have a plate and you can cook, listen to the second part of it, and you can cook. Y'all know where to do it, man. You can DM on my Instagram name is right there at the bottom ticker. You can DM me on Instagram and we can see and test some of this barbecue out. But that's a must. Like you said, hanging out with family is always fun, man. Getting a chance to just be outside in the sun for a little bit. When I was younger, everybody used to go to the bridge and stuff like that here in Waco to get ready to watch the fireworks show. If we weren't already going somewhere as a family to sit back and watch, we would pull up to different places. Like you said, we've done it in Dallas or Houston or different places for the 4th of July. getting a chance to sit back and watch the fireworks show. My only down thing I have about 4th of July, man, is the flies. I don't know if they have a calendar and they know that the barbecue is coming out. They know the flies every year seem to know that barbecue is coming out, and they somehow find their way around to be either by your food or by the pit or somewhere. So make sure we got those little bug zapper things out this year for everybody.
It's the flies and the heat, man.
Yeah, that's part of it,
man. And the mosquitoes sometimes.
Yeah, mosquitoes be out there too.
You gotta understand them guys come out at night too, make it hard for you to watch one of them fireworks show. You be like, whoa, man. But no, man, but it's all about family and having a good time, you know. So that's what you look forward to.
Every year. Happy 4th to everybody out there. Like I said, the 4th of July is this weekend, so definitely hope you guys get a chance to spend some time with your family. The WNBA has been in action, have just came out and said that they are going to add 3 expansion teams to the WNBA. They've been talking about this for now a couple of years and adding some more expansion teams. Cleveland is going to get a team in 2028. Mm-hmm. Detroit will get a team in 2029. And Philadelphia will get a team in 2030 in the WNBA. What do you think about the WNBA adding some more teams in now?
Man, the WNBA has been successful. I mean, their viewership has gone up.
Skyrocketed,
you know, and so, you know, to make the league a little bit more interesting, you give more jobs out to college and to women basketball players to go out and make some money and make a living doing what they love to do. And they're bringing it to cities that already have established NBA teams.
Yeah, so I think that's important too.
But I think that's I think it's great for the WNBA, and I think it's great for us. I mean, it gives us much more to do. Can they compete with the NBA? No, but I love watching the WNBA.
Yeah, me too.
I do. I mean, it's some very, very exciting and competitive games, and I've kind of gotten into that the last year or so when I wouldn't even watch it.
Yeah.
But now I do. I hadn't watched it since we had the team in Houston with
the Comets. Yeah.
The Comets, and I used to watch the Comets when they first came out, and they were an elite team. But since then, I kind of blew it off. But the last year, I've been watching it again. So
yeah, I'm like you. Last couple of years, I've definitely been tuned in to the WNBA and what's going on there. I think adding expansion teams is very necessary. One, the infrastructure is already there in those cities, like you said, because of the NBA. We know the NBA owns the WNBA, so that plays a big part into where those expansion teams are going to. And then two, I think it's huge because the talent pool. There's so many girls that are great college players that don't even get the chance to play in the WNBA because there's only 14 teams. Each team only got 12 spots. So a lot of people get cut out that have the talent, and we see a lot of our great talent playing overseas in women's basketball.
Yeah, so what do you think about this? You know how in high school they had the girls' game first and then the boys' team left. Think we'll ever get to that?
Hey, they need to. For some of them, man, let's have the girls play at 5, the boys at 7, just like we did in high school.
Yeah, like we did in high school.
Like we did back in the day. Yeah, but that would be cool, man, to see them do that as well. I would like to see them do some more crossover stuff, though, with the WNBA.
Yeah,
I
me
seen
too,
them.
man.
They did the shootout.
All-Star,
they did the shootout a couple years ago with Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry. I'd like to see them do some more, adding some more things with the WNBA. They also have announced their All-Star captains in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark named as one of the captains for the All-Star, along with Nafisa Collier, who's got a strong chance of winning MVP this year. She's been playing out of her mind all year long with the Minnesota Lynx. Yeah. But Caitlin Clark right up there, too, with the star power. And like I said before, a lot of people thought, the star power kind of outweighed her play in the first year and all. They're just doing this because they wanted to be the star. This year, she's changed that narrative, if anybody still thought that. Caitlin Clark is one of the best players in the WNBA.
Oh, no doubt about it.
We can go in and establish that right now. Her being named an all-star captain only solidifies that even more going into this year. What do you think about Clark and Collier being named captains for the All-Star game?
Well, it's what the fans want. They got the most votes.
Yep.
So when you think about it, that, they brought a level of excitement to the WNBA that nobody else has, and a lot of players have. But those when you talk about the top vote getters, you talk about Stephen Curry, and you talk about LeBron James, and you talk about these guys like that. Well, they on that level.
Yeah.
So they brought, especially Caitlin Clark. I mean, what she's done for the WNBA, her and Angel Reese has been, man, is just short of amazing.
Yeah.
Because that rivalry in college and them going back to back, 2 years back to back, and doing their thing, and then you bring that intensity and that same level of play to the WNBA, that kind of started it all. So Caitlin Clark has done a lot for the WNBA, and for her to be chosen as a captain and get the most votes in the WNBA All-Star voting is exciting. I wanted to pick Angel Reese on the team.
Yeah, that would really take it up and get y'all some more of the ratings.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that at all, but like you said, Caitlin Clark has done a lot for the game the last couple of years. Her game complements that as well now that she's being named the captain. Nafisa Carlier, one of the staples in the WNBA for the last few years. This year, for sure, has taken it to another level. Really standing out as one of the best players in the league, right up there with Asia Wilson and Breonna Stewart and some of those other girls that have been doing it for a long time. So definitely excited for those two to be named. And like you said, maybe she need to pick Angel Reese on the team. I think that would definitely create a couple more storylines in it as well. One more in the WNBA, Candace Parker, who is my all-time favorite WNBA player. If I had to pick a GOAT for myself, at least for the WNBA, it would definitely be Candace Parker. Her career at Tennessee all the way to the Los Angeles Sparks. Got her jersey retired in the Los Angeles Sparks the other day, this past weekend. At the game, the Sparks played against the Chicago Sky, man. Angel Reese put on a show out there for Candace Parker, who she said is one of her favorite players growing up and a lot of influence on her game. She came out there with a good stat line, 24 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists to go along with it on retirement night, and got the dub against the Sparks on the retirement night for Candace Parker. One, what do you think about Candace Parker getting her jersey retired there for the Sparks, and then Angel Reese's performance in that game?
Well, well deserved, man. Candace Parker, like you say, is one of the best probably if not one of the best with Taurasi and going in with Brittany Griner and those that. Cynthia Cooper is my all-time favorite, but man, she deserves this. Well deserved. Well deserved. She's brought a lot of attention to the WNBA.
Yes,
and she's actually one of the best announcers on television right now.
Yes, I love
and
her
her
on
knowledge
TNT.
of basketball, man, is just outstanding, man. It's over the top. And so I've always loved Candace Parker from the time she was at Tennessee and from Tennessee all the way up into the end of her career in the WNBA.
Yeah.
I think it's well deserved, and congratulations to her. And then on Angel Reese going out and performing like she did. She's always been a dog on those on the defense and offensive rebounds. She plays with intensity. She plays physical, and that hadn't changed. And that's why she's a bulldog on that glass. And man, she goes out and plays. If she can ever get an offensive game, pick up an offensive game, because the defense and the rebounding is there.
Yeah.
She just needs to work on her offensive. Just find her a little shot or do it, because all her points come off of rebounds, second chance points. But she's a beast at it, and she's great at it. She's the best in the WNBA at it.
She's the best rebounder for sure in the league. And like you said, that intensity that she brings every game. I heard somebody else say this in the NBA. Playing hard is a skill. Like some people, especially when you get to that level, because everybody, once you get to the pros in the NBA or the WNBA, everybody can shoot, everybody can dribble, everybody has all of those things. Playing hard is a skill that'll set you apart from other people, and that's something that Angel Reese has been able to do consistently, man. So shout out to the WNBA, and they give us something to watch here in the summertime outside of baseball. They give us some games to go home and be able to watch at the end of the day to be able to catch some more sports going on. So shout out to the entire WNBA. One more before we go into the NBA. One more quick take. BYU's starting quarterback from last year has kind of found himself in a little bit of trouble. Jake Retzlaff, I forget how they say his last name or not, but the starter for last year, he got hit with a potential sexual assault suit that ended up getting dropped. But BYU has some different rules there at their school. Even though he got the sexual assault case dropped, he did have to admit to what they classify as premarital sex, which is is a no-no if you go to BYU. And now Jake is getting into the transfer portal, even though the suit was dropped, because he would potentially face a 7-game suspension. Y'all heard it? 7-game suspension for committing in premarital sex there at BYU. Well, that always kind of throws me off with BYU and some of their rules. Wayne, I want to ask you, one, did BYU recruit you, and did that have any influence?
They recruited my brother really hard.
Okay.
They didn't recruit me.
Yeah.
And nor did I want them to recruit me because that would be that's a I mean, you know, that
rule
goes
always throws me off.
That goes hand in hand with college. You know,
Yeah,
you
that's
get
what
a chance to be away from home and to kind of, you know, start your adult life. And man, that's one of them things that you know. But that's a 7-game suspension imposed by the university and the college, not the NCAA.
Yeah, that's the school doing that.
That's the school doing that, and that's mandatory. But I mean, you have to have a strong will if you're going to BYU, you know, and it just causes you to be in a bad situation because you're saying to yourself, well, if I do this, I have to keep it a secret and I have to lie about it and say I didn't. So it's all about sneaking it. That's just like being a kid in high school.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to run from your parents. That's what you get away from. That's why you go to college and get away from your parents to kind of be your own man or your own kid and do what you want to do, right?
Definitely a unique experience you get at BYU, man. I always found that rule to be crazy. To see it implemented in real time, y'all were going to give your starting quarterback a 7-game. Man, there's people that get caught with dope at school. On their person and don't get 7-game suspension at school. This was I find that they're always a little bit interesting, man. But I'm glad he got the lawsuit dropped. But he's jumping in that transfer portal because he said, I'm not sitting out 7 games in my senior year.
I don't blame him, man. And then I had a friend that went to school with me at Jefferson Moore, and then he finished at Brian Mitchell.
Yeah,
played a little pro ball. Good friend, good defense back. But he went to BYU and he stayed all 4 years. God bless you, B. Mitchell. But boy, I don't know how you did it. I couldn't. And he ended up marrying somebody from there. So I mean, it all worked out for him.
Yeah,
it causes those guys to get married early. You go into your sophomore year and you done got married. You 19 years old. Because that's the only way you can play.
That's the only way.
That's the only way you can play off the field anyway.
If you want to play on and off the field, you got to go ahead and lock it up early.
Yeah.
If not, man, I guess them dudes, man, that's why they hit hard out there at BYU. They got a lot of pent-up emotions
no doubt,
there at BYU, man.
But testosterone running around there, man.
A lot of testosterone going on in the locker room there. But shout out to him, man, and we'll see what school he's able to sign to and transfer over to. Folks, like I said, the NBA offseason is in full effect right now. We just had the draft a couple of days ago. Cooper Flagg was solidified as that number 1 pick, man. We watched guys like Ace Bailey join to the Utah Jazz. We watched Dylan Harper join a really nice young core and the San Antonio Spurs as well. But now we're in that second part of the offseason where we get into free agency. In the NBA, they always say, well, we got a free agent period and it starts. But somehow we always see 10 to 15 deals before we even get to that deadline spot. But, you know, we'll let the NBA work out how they do that. We've seen multiple deals that I want to talk about here with you, Wayne, already started off. For one, we've seen some big trades. Obviously, Kevin Durant going over to the Rockets and how that affects. We've seen Desmond Bane head out there to Orlando. But now we see some of these guys now signing and already some deals to change a couple of things up. First one I want to say, one that just happened a few minutes ago, man. The Denver Nuggets trading Michael Porter Jr. to the Brooklyn Nets for Cameron Johnson and the 2032 first-round pick. That sounds crazy to be that far out, but a 2032 first-round pick. What do you think about the Nuggets trying to make some moves? And this is a deal that I seen coming, man. Michael Porter Jr. really the last couple of years. Too inconsistent for this Nuggets team that's got championship aspirations. Now we see a Cam Johnson who was on that Suns team that went to the finals a few years ago. Now get to come back to a contender in the West and join out to Denver. What do you think about Cam coming back to the Nuggets?
I think it's a good team. I mean, I think it's a good trade. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Michael Porter needed to change the scenery, and he won a world championship with Denver where he was efficient and he was shooting. But last year, the last couple of years, he's been inefficient. He hadn't been that guy. He hasn't been consistent, and he's been injured. Yeah, and so maybe that's had a lot to do with it. But so too. Cam Johnson has always been consistent, and he's a deadly shooter.
Yes, he is.
So, I mean, you trading a shooter that's you trading a shooter for a shooter. So, But I think Michael Porter Jr. needed a change of scenery, and I think it'll work out for him. But it'll work out more for Denver because Denver needs that. They need a guy that can be consistent, that can be consistently in the lineup. Michael Porter Jr. played hurt all year.
Yeah, especially in that playoffs. He had a shoulder injury that was supposed to keep him out for 2 months. He played on it instead. Not sure if that even helped or hurt the team, which one it did. But he's going down to the Nets, like you said, change scenery for him to kind of have his first chance to show, hey, can you be a guy that gets 20 to 25 in this league? You get that chance going to a very young Nets team. And if you're Cam Johnson, I definitely think the Nuggets have an upgrade now on defense. I think Cam Johnson's proven when he was on that Suns team, he can be a guy that can play some good team defense. And you trade a really good shooter, Michael Porter Jr., and get back a guy the same size that can shoot just as well, if not better, than Michael Porter Jr. So I love the trade for Denver side and the signing for Denver side and getting a guy like Cam Johnson to join that Nuggets team. A big domino that everybody was waiting to fall with the Dallas Mavericks. We talked about them getting Cooper Flag and what that means. We know Kyrie Irving tore his ACL right at the end of the season. So they need a guard to kind of be that bridge and carry him over, man. And they signed D'Angelo Russell. They get him out there, 2-year deal worth $13 million to bring D'Angelo Russell to the Mavs and be that lead guard that holds him over until they can get a Kyrie Irving back. They're expected to get him back, they're saying January, February of 2026 next year. What do you think about D'Lo heading out to the Dallas Mavericks?
Well, I would have rather it been Chris Paul. But
I'm just like you, man. I thought the exact same thing.
But you go out and you get your guy like D'Angelo Russell just to hold the fort down until you get your guys back. With all they have, they needed somebody that can handle the ball and to kind of take that pressure out because they don't have really any guards. Now you got a guy named a guy like Cooper Flag who can kind of bring it down. It's kind of like a point forward. And then you have D'Angelo Russell. But D'Angelo Russell, for me, when he was with the Lakers, he wasn't getting it done. I mean, he was that guy that – so I would rather Chris Paul, somebody that's established and that can handle the ball and that's been in big game time situations. I would rather them have brought him in than but whatever works for them. Yeah. Whatever works for them.
I think D'Lo gives them some of that offense that they'll be missing because I love the Mavericks squad and that they built out, especially adding in a Cooper Flag. But shooting is going to be an issue for them to start it off. Just already thinking you got Klay Thompson out there, but everybody else is a streaky shooter if you're talking about stretching the floor. I think D'Lo helps them in that range. He's a guy that can get you 15 to 20 points. But I'm like you, man. I can't forget all of those series with the Lakers where this guy was a no-show. So I would have rather than picked Chris Paul. I think he's the perfect floor general, even at this age, still the perfect floor general. But them adding D'Lo definitely gives them an extra adage or something that they've
just
been
on a
needing to add.
part-time basis.
Exactly.
Because now you're going to pick up scoring with Cooper Flag, and then you have to have somebody that can get those bigs the ball. You have to have somebody that can put them in great situations. And I think the lob with Cooper Flag and Chris Paul would have been outstanding.
Yes.
I think him getting through the lane and getting to the lane opens up what's my name?
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson for his three-point shots.
For sure.
Chris Paul is more of a creator, and I don't think D'Angelo Russell is that guy to create.
Over the years, he's not been a guy that creates shots for others. He's a guy that can get his own shot at times, and he can be a really good three-point shooter. But like you said, Chris Paul gets guys more involved, and they're gonna need somebody's got to get these other guys the ball.
I mean, how's my boy Anthony?
Anthony
Davis gonna get the ball.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell ain't that guy to do it. So, like I said, I like a guy like Chris Paul, but it's evident they have a plan for their team, and it was D'Angelo Russell. So that's
D'Lo heading out there on a 2-year, $13 million deal to join the Dallas Mavericks and some teams that have a team that's already added a lot with them. The Denver Nuggets, we just talked about them adding Cam Johnson. They do a huge deal that a lot of people said they need to do, and they just brought back Bruce Brown on a 1-year deal, man. I think them losing Bruce Brown off of that championship team, to me, changed the entire team.
They did. They shouldn't have never let him go because he was an integral part of what they were doing, and he was an integral part of their defense coming off the bench, and he was one of the reasons they won that championship game. They didn't lose any. They didn't lose anything when he came on the floor.
He He brought everything
from the first team. Yeah.
He's a guy that literally played all 5 positions for the Denver Nuggets. I'm talking about even backup center, even though he's 6'3".
Yeah.
They had this guy in the dunker spot, and it worked.
Yeah.
I was watching him get 12, 15 points against the Lakers in the Western Conference
And
Finals.
he's a bully. He's
Yes,
a bully, man.
yes.
He's physical.
Yeah.
And you need that guy on your team. And once they let him go, that's that championship aspirations went down the window.
I think
went out the window.
The Denver Nuggets are already off to a great start in this free agency so far, man. I love the moves that they added just with bringing in Cam Johnson and Bruce Brown to that team. We'll see if they add some more guys in. One deal that kind of caught me off guard, but I'm loving it already, man.
I know. I know what
the
deal
Houston
that
Rockets,
is.
man.
Yeah,
they get Dorian Finney-Smith, bring him in on a 4-year deal, $53 million to kind of replace what they were losing in a guy in Dylan Brooks that left. You bring in another defensive enforcer, a guy that really shot the ball well for the Lakers last year in the time that he played for the Lakers. And a piece that I'm very surprised I'm moving because I thought the Lakers, they would have went all out to bring back Dorian Finney-Smith. Outside of LeBron and Luka, he was literally their most important piece on that team last year and what he's able to bring to the team. What do you think about Finney-Smith joining the Rockets and then leaving that hole in the Lakers and what they just lost with Finney-Smith?
Well, the thing about it is, man, he has to get paid.
Yes.
He was only due in with the Lakers $7 million, so he opts out, and he's an older guy.
Yeah.
So once you get to your 29, 30 in the NBA, you need to secure the bag.
Yeah.
So the only way you can do that, man, is through free agency, and the Lakers can pay him that amount of money. So he had to go somewhere, but it's a great deal for Houston because Houston go get them another guy, man.
Yes.
What they've done, and obviously, is catapult them right up to the top of the conference finals. To me,
Yeah.
Now, I think it's them in Oklahoma, and I think they can play with Oklahoma because they got the pieces to do it. When you had a Finney-Smith, a defensive guy like that could go out and play Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man, and then you got a scorer, then you got a point guard, you got the pieces that they added compared to the pieces that they lost, man, are integral to going to be integral to their success next year. And these guys are going to be right at the top, believe me.
Yeah, I'm right with you in
I like
agreeing
their
with
moves.
that. I think the Rockets so far have had the best offseason out of anybody. Making the trade for Kevin Durant, obviously some people have mixed opinions. Oh, he's too old for this. You lose a young Jalen Green or whatever. What you do get is a closer. You get a finisher. You get a guy that we've seen do it on the biggest stages. Now adding in a Finney-Smith with the guy that's already, in my opinion, the best defender, on the ball defender in the league, and Amen Thompson. You pair those guys together. They re-signed Fred VanVleet, which was huge. They re-signed Steven Adams, who was one of the most important players in the playoffs, his last playoffs, and what he brought to the team. You re-sign an extension now to Jabari Smith, who showed a lot of promise and is going to get him back into the starting lineup now to join along with Kevin Durant. So, man, I think this team can play multiple different ways. They can go small ball. They can play a big lineup like they did in the playoffs with Şengün, who was already an all-star from last year, looking to build on that all-star resume again this year. I think the Rockets have had the best offseason so
and then
far.
you surround them with these tough guys like Adams. You surround Durant with these guys that can take a lot of pressure off of him because one of the things about it with Phoenix, he couldn't get protected. He was getting beat up. But you had him with all these bullies. Steven Adams, Finney-Smith, Amar Thompson. These guys are physical guys.
Yes.
They gonna take a lot of pressure off of him where he don't have to defend, and all he have to do is worry about really scoring.
Yeah.
You know, because you got multiple defenders. You got guys that can defend. So when you have guys that can defend, then it makes it easier for your scorer to go out and just concentrate on being a scorer.
That takes all the pressure off him, especially defensively. You're now talking about a Kevin Durant that can just play help side defense the whole time. We can stick him over there in the corner.
Right.
And now he can use his 7'5" wingspan to come over and just get help side blocks the entire time because they've got multiple on-the-ball defenders now. Man, the sky's the limit for this Rockets team. They extended their coach, who I think is one of the best coaches, top 5 coach in the NBA to me, and Ime Udoka and what he brings with this team. The Rockets have added a lot of pieces. Them now adding Dorian Finney-Smith is huge. On the other side of this, the Lakers, I'm trying to figure out, what are you doing? That was literally the only defender on your roster.
Well, they couldn't pay him. They couldn't pay him for one. They couldn't pay him what he wanted. So they're going to have to put all their stock into going out and getting a center because, and then they're going to have to try to replace Finney Smith with someone else in free agent market, on the free agent market. But I don't know how you let this guy get away, but they couldn't pay him, so he opts out. You probably try to get a guy like that to opt in, but he opted out of his contract, the last year's contract, so he can go get money. Then he go get 4 years, $53 million. I mean, the guy has 5 kids.
Yeah.
You got 5 kids, man. You got to go out and get that money.
And that $53 million looks a little different in L.A. than it does in Texas.
Oh, man.
Because of those taxes. That look
Exactly.
a lot different.
Yeah, no state taxes in Texas, and you come here and you get $53 million. Man, you making some money. So you just have to do what's best for you, man, and you have to do what's best for your family. And he did what was best for him and his family. But the Lakers are gonna have to tie themselves into getting a guy like the guy that just Ayton. I think that's the best center that'll fit what they're trying to do. But now they're gonna have to go out and try to get them another on-ball defender because Finney Smith was big for him, and I hate that they lose him, but I know you're happy because you're a Houston Rockets fan, and he comes to the, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's good for Houston, bad for the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers, like you said, you brought up DeAndre Ayton. We'll talk about him in a second. But they got to find somebody to fill in those roles, man. Defense was their biggest lack last year, and it really showed up in the playoff outside of a big man. Now, I think the Lakers have just signed Jake LaRavia, who was kind of a shooter. He's a guy that played in Memphis for a couple of years and finished the season last year kind of strong with the Kings. A guy that can shoot the ball, stretch the floor. He's a 4 guy, but stretching the floor was not their issue last year. And I know that J.J. Redick wants to add that in with Luka and have guys that can stretch. That wasn't the issue last year. The issue last year was having a big guy down low, and then their perimeter defense was at an all-time low, with especially when you have to start Austin Reeves and Luka together. Those are your two best guards. Those are 2 bad defensive guards as well. LeBron is 40-some years old, and he had a good defensive season last year. But you can't keep expecting this guy to come out here, especially for an 82-game season.
And I think they need to go get a guy like Chris Paul, too, and a guy like Ayton. Yeah. Because they don't have anybody that can create on the offensive end. Luka is a type of guy that pass the ball, and once he does try to pass the ball, it's 3-4 seconds on the shot clock.
It's bomb shot,
yeah. So, but I think they could have went out and got a Cameron Johnson, but the Nuggets traded for him. But man, they got to do some things. I don't know what they can do. They got too many needs for the amount of money that they have, and they don't have a lot of options. So the options that they have, they better make the best of them. And a lot of it is going to trickle down to, hey, man, I want to come and play with LeBron.
Yeah.
You know, because they can't pay out the money. So it's going to be guys that's sacrificing money to come play with LeBron and try to help him win another championship.
Yeah, we've seen Rich Paul came out, I think, last week and said that, you know, there might be some potential uncertainty. Now, I'm not exactly sold on that part, but potential uncertainty about LeBron's future with this team due to the roster. It was really kind of a confusing message that he put out. No one really knows what he was trying to say, like, okay, do they need to add people, or are you saying LeBron wants to be traded? Then LeBron opts in to his deal for $52 million, and this is the first time that he's had a option in the last few years that he opted into. Usually we see him opt out so he can either re-sign on another 2-year deal or he ends up changing teams. Now he opts into it. They're saying they're uncertain about the future of the team. They're uncertain about his future just in general. There's come out somebody who had a phone out and recording while he was at Benihana's getting some dinner, and he said he was talking to somebody and said, Savannah wants me to play only either this year or maybe another year or so, something which I don't think was surprising. A lot of people were saying, oh, they put this out, and now he's spilling the tea that Savannah only wants him. Of course she wants him to retire. LeBron is 50-something years old at this point, man. Of course she wants him to retire from the league. But there's some uncertainty going on in Los Angeles with the future. I don't subscribe to that. I think LeBron is clearly going to be in L.A. until he retires. Now, how long he plays is the question. But him changing teams, I don't think so.
We know he's going to play next year. I think he'll play another year after that, and then he'll call it quits. But the ownership that they have in L.A. now, LeBron's not going nowhere. These guys are
Absolutely
proven winners. They not gonna let him go anywhere. And until we hear LeBron say something,
Exactly.
I'm not buying into that. You know, I know Clutch Sports and that's his boy and this, that, and other. But he made his boy.
Yeah.
His boy didn't make him, and his boy's not gonna make him. You know, Rich Paul.
Rich Paul. Yeah,
Rich Paul. LeBron put you on.
exactly.
He made you, and so I know y'all work as a partnership and y'all boys and this, that, and other. But until I hear LeBron say something, man, I'm not buying any of that.
I'm not reading
buying
into that.
Yeah.
Saying, he's uncertain about. He might be uncertain about the roster, but what he's gonna do is still play basketball in Los Angeles. As long as he's playing basketball, where is he gonna go from there? I don't see LeBron. Only team he could go back to is Cleveland, and I don't see him doing that. All the stuff they would have to work out. I don't see him moving. His son is about to play at Arizona, which is a 40-minute flight away from Los Angeles right now. His other son is on the Lakers. So, come on, y'all. He's going to be on the Lakers still going forward from there. They've got some depth, like you said, they've got some moves they got to make. The positive is, another point that you brought up, is this new ownership. Mark, that group spends money.
Oh, yeah.
The Lakers been their problem the last few years, unlike what a lot of people think about. The Buss family was one of the poorest ownership groups in the NBA. The Buss family inherited the Los Angeles Lakers, and then they split this inherited part 4 or 5 different ways. So they were one of the poorest, if not the poorest, ownership group
probably
in the NBA. Now they add one of the richest, if not the richest owner in multiple sports. We're talking about the same guy that owns the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
We've seen what he's done with the Dodgers in the last few years since he's been part of that ownership group. This is a time for the Lakers to be able to go out and spend money. So that is a positive on that side for the Los Angeles Lakers. But like you said, man, they got some tough decisions on guys they got to sign and who they're going to sign. And this free agency period, as you see, it happens quick. They probably had Cam Johnson on their radar. He's gone. They might have had Dorian Finney-Smith on their radar.
And
he's out of there.
And that's the thing about free agency, man. Your agent working these deals and you doing these phone calls back to back, and you got, your phone is constantly ringing, ringing. Hey, and then you have these teams. Hey, man, we have an interest in your client, and then you have 4 or 5 teams interested in your client, and then before you know it, hey, this team know these other teams are interested in, because the agent is going to use that as leverage. He's going to say, well, I got about 3 teams interested in my guy, and then the team will say, well, who are those teams? Well, the Lakers are one. And then it might be somebody that's competitive with him, and then here they go saying, well, what will it take for us to sign him right now? And he's just leveraging that up against other guys and other teams.
That's how I go.
And then next thing you know, well, my client wants at least a 4-year deal. Well, okay, well, let me get back with you in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you go back and talk to your people, and then, hey, man, we need him to make this work for us. Hey, man, 4 years, $53 million. Of course, we'll take it.
Yeah,
so now he signed. He off the board.
And now you're sitting there looking at your hands like, hold on, I thought we could have made a deal or something.
He on that list now. We had to scratch him off. Then we look at this. We have to scratch him off.
There's a lot of scratching off happening right now for the Lakers. Another guy that they thought could have helped him out. Another pickup for the Houston Rockets, man. Clint Capella just signs a 3-year deal, $21 million. Going back to Houston, where it all started for him. Another big that the Lakers were looking at, a guy they could probably bring in on a shorter deal, a cheaper deal, as we just seen him sign, a cheaper deal to stay with the Rockets. For one, the Rockets are going to make size there. They saw something last year in that playoffs. Last year, obviously, scoring is what hurt them and why they couldn't get past the Warriors. But what they did see is, man, when we put out these giant lineups against teams, most of the NBA likes to play these little lineups now. We dominate against those teams when we play the bigger lineup. Now you added a Clint Capella, another shot blocker, into the mix there to go with Jabari Smith, who's 6'11", Steven Adams, who's 7 foot, Şengün out there as well. Kevin Durant, who's a 7-footer, going to be playing the 3. Man, Houston's going to put some big lineups out there, but another guy that the Lakers have to scratch off the list.
You got to scratch him off the list. I'm telling you, their best bet is DeAndre Ayton, and they need him because he can score. He's young, and he can be a part of their future with Luka when LeBron is gone. But he's young, and he can relate to Luka and the lob pass, and he's a defensive guy too.
Yes.
So they need that guy. They need a 7'1", 7'2" guy that can play in that middle with those guys. But I think that's their best bet. I was thinking about the guy that was coming from Boston.
The backup center, Cornette.
No, not Cornette.
Horford and
Horford.
Oh yeah,
Horford.
Al Horford. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I was thinking about Horford. Horford, he would do okay, but he doesn't fit, and he's not going to do the things.
They need a
can
rim
do.
runner. Horford ain't jumping over a phone book right now at this point.
Right.
They want somebody that can go out. DeAndre Ayton, like you said, is their best move. I don't know what the negotiations or the talks have been like with DeAndre Ayton. He played. He got drafted by Phoenix. He got drafted by Phoenix. He played college in Arizona. Probably wants to get back to that West Coast. They've got to be able to bring him in because he brings all those things that we said, rim running. He brings defense. Now, there was a lot of questions about how he is as a top guy, as we saw there in the Blazers. A lot of people felt like he quit on the team a lot of times, wasn't engaged. All of that can change when you go to the Lakers because when you play with LeBron James, there's expectation. When you play with the Los Angeles Lakers, there's expectation. So a lot of those things could change. I think him and, like you said, Chris Paul, those are the guys they need to be focusing in on to try to bring in because y'all, each minute that goes by, y'all are scratching some more names off the list of those guys that you wanted to bring in to the fold. Luke Cornette, another guy that played good for the Boston Celtics last year, he just signed a 4-year deal with the San Antonio Spurs, a guy that was linked to the Lakers supposedly. They're scratching more names off of that list. One interesting one that just happened, Karis LeVert signs a 2-year deal, $29 million to join the Detroit Pistons. I think that's a really good deal because the Pistons are one of those up-and-coming teams in the East. We talked about the East the last couple of weeks here and how weak that we think is going to be next year. Not really weak, but how wide open it's going to be. There's no superpower within the East right now with all the injuries to Tatum to the Celtics, and Damian Lillard's not going to play next year with the Bucks. The East is wide open. Karis LeVert now joining a Pistons group that was up-and-coming, kind of similar to the Rockets of a couple of years ago, the Thunder of a couple of years ago, where we see them building a lot of these draft picks up and now getting to this point. Do you think LeVert can help out the Pistons next year?
I do, and then and for one thing, I think they're going to lose a guy that's linked to this gambling scandal.
Yeah, Malik Beasley.
Yeah, Malik Beasley. So to bring a guy like that in, I think it'll help them. You know, he's got some experience and he's kind of a veteran, so he'll help all those young guys because they're a young team and they need some veteran experience. You know, so I think he will help them, and they need another scorer, and I think he can help with scoring a little bit. And I'm looking, and I see Brook Lopez is signed with the Clippers, so that's another guy you can scratch off the list for the Lakers. So,
the Lakers, man, y'all better go out here and sign. Y'all need to sign a big at this point. Just get somebody on the books because, man, everybody is going. That's another guy that they thought maybe could have came back to L.A., but he came back to L.A. just for the other team this time, and Brook Lopez now headed over to the Clippers as well. There's a lot of players on the move right now. There's a couple of big deals that's been handed out. One of them being Jaren Jackson Jr., who re-signs with the Grizzlies, signs that one of the Supermax extensions that he was eligible for. He wasn't eligible for the Supermax that you can only get by making one of those All-NBA teams. They left him off the All-NBA teams this year. But he does get to sign a really big deal, staying with the Memphis Grizzlies. We know they just traded off Desmond Bane. A lot of that was clearing up space for Jaren Jackson Jr., who now comes out and signs a 5-year, $240 million extension to stay with the Memphis Grizzlies.
That's enough money.
Yeah.
That's enough money, man. That's generational wealth.
Absolutely.
But you knew that was going to happen. I mean, he was a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
And they had his rights. But he's played at a high level. He's been one of their best players. And so you have to keep a young guy like that. And he's still relatively young, and he's only going to get better. But he is one of the core players of their franchise, and they have to keep him. So you have to sign him.
Yeah, I think that was kind of evident when they got rid of Desmond Bane. He was on a big contract, $230-some million contract. Once they got rid of him, Memphis is not a team in a market that can support having 3 max players. We talked about that before on the show. We knew somebody was going to be the odd man out. Ended up being Desmond Bane. They re-up on Jaren Jackson Jr. Next year, they're going to re-up again on Ja Morant, even though he's battled a lot in injuries. They're going to re-up on him. And building something out there in Memphis, they re-signed Santi Aldama, who was a guy that came in and played really good at the end of the year for them last year. He signed a $52 million deal to stay out there as well. Another big deal that got passed out, James Harden, man, still finding a way to get these checks cut for him. re-ups, gets a 2-year, $81 million deal from the Los Angeles Clippers to stay out there in the Clippers. He was, for majority of the season last year, their best player. He's a guy that
he was. He made all NBA.
Yes, all NBA.
Yeah, so I don't know what team all NBA, if it was third team or what, but he made all NBA. He deserved it. He went out there and handled his business. He was their best player. When you talking about you got Kawhi, he was their best player.
Yeah.
He played throughout the whole season. Looked like he lost weight, but he was the reason why they made it to the playoffs last year. Basically, he was one of those guys that played at a high level, man, and he deserved it. So I don't know anybody in the whole NBA that's been paid more than James Harden.
James Harden done made some money.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, James Harden has made some bread. I remember when he was with the Rockets and he signed that $600 million deal with Adidas.
Yeah.
So this is a guy that he done made a lot of money over the years, man. So shout out to James Harden getting some more of that cash from the Los Angeles Clippers. Like you just pointed out, Brook Lopez now joining him over in the Clippers. I think that's a really good big man to back up Zubac. Gives him a lot of consistency at the big man spot because Zubac and Lopez do some very similar things. And a trend that we're noticing, man, the West is getting big. The West is gearing up and saying everybody needs size. We watched the Thunder. One of the things that helped them get over the edge was signing Hardenstein and keeping size there. We look at the Mavericks, a team that's going to be huge. We look at the Rockets, a team that's going to be huge. Now the Clippers adding in with that, with another big guy as well.
That's what you usually do. And that's what you usually do. You have to find a way to compete with your competitors and the guys that win it all. So you'll see people, it's just like, I don't care what sport it is. If you don't have pitching in baseball and you go to that World Series the next year and you know that you didn't have pitching, you're going out and getting pitching the next year. If you didn't have hitters, you're going out to get hitters. In basketball, it's the same way, man. We didn't have size. We couldn't throw the right personnel or the right roster out there to compete with these guys because they had guys coming off the bench. So the thing, you got to have depth to beat Oklahoma.
Yep.
You have to have size. When you can bring in 2 or 3 big guys that's over 7 feet tall, man, and then you got these long guys on the wings, man, that's hard to compete with. So that's what the West is doing, just like you're saying. They're getting big, man. Houston, big.
Yeah.
Clippers, big. Denver, big. You know. So, man, you have to get to that level, you have to compete, and you have to have the personnel to go out and compete with these guys.
Definitely, and like you said, it's kind of a copycat league. Once we see what the Thunder did and they went out there and won, okay, the next free agency, that's what everybody's going to go out there and do. And a lot of teams in the West are getting better. The West is going to be loaded next year. We knew that already. The West was loaded this year. Going into next year and seeing some of these teams already getting better, man, I love some of the moves that some of these teams have gone out there and made. Before we get off here, the NBA draft, like I said, was last week. Who are some of those young players that got drafted that you're excited to see in the uniform? Obviously, we've talked about Cooper Flagg and what he can bring to the Dallas Mavericks, but we see some of these other young guys that have got a chance to join some teams that have a chance to be competitive in this upcoming season.
I like Lil Harper.
Yes,
you know, I know
Joining the Spurs,
I know his dad. You know, met his dad a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to see, you know, dad ex-NBA player. You know, I want to see what he's got. I want to see how he's been groomed. I know he comes from a great family and everything like that. Like I said, I know his dad. So let's. I want to see what he's got. The guy from Baylor, VJ Edgecombe. I want to see what he got. I mean, you never know what you got. I mean, you think about it. You think guys like Giannis, you know, a little skinny kid that came to the NBA. Did you ever think he was going to be what he was?
Yeah, exactly.
And he became one of the greatest and one of the best players in the NBA. But he worked hard for it. Even Michael Jordan, when he came into the league, he was a little old skinny kid. Got beat up by Detroit a few years. Then he get in that weight room and he changed his whole game.
Absolutely.
And the rest is history. He becomes the greatest basketball player of all time. So the draft is all about potential. So you see all these guys with potential, and you interested to see what happens with these guys.
Yeah, the draft is a time, like you said, you get to see some of these kids grow up, change over from college, get to become and play against adults, man. It's a different game, like you know oh so well going to the NFL. It's a different game when you get into that league and playing with grown men that, you know, are trying to feed their families like you're trying to do. So, but I'm like you. I love the Dylan Harper pick to San Antonio. A lot of young talent on their team. He just adds in with De'Aaron Fox at the guard spot. They had the Rookie of the Year last year, Stephon Castle at the guard spot, and they add him in obviously to go with Victor Wembanyama and all these different guys. So I like what the Spurs are building out there as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on them, folks. NBA free agency is in full effect. We've already talked about 10, 15 deals already, and it just started an hour ago. So they're in full effect. We're going to go home and watch some more of these moves to see who is headed out where. We'll see the Lakers sign anybody, man, at this point. Cause I know the top 3 guys they had on their list have already been X'd off already. So we'll see what they do going in here tomorrow. Folks, we'll be back here tomorrow. We're out of time today. Want to thank everybody for watching with us. Definitely want to thank Devontrae for stopping by early in the first part of the show, him and his pops. We're going to put that interview back out and make sure you guys go back and watch that interview to see what he's going to do, not only at Baylor in a couple years, but with the U-Dogs this upcoming season. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV over on YouTube. Also, you'll see my Instagram name at the bottom ticker, at Jalen Gillis on Instagram, and you can follow this show at Centex Primetime on Instagram as well. Want to thank Wayne for jumping in here with us tomorrow. Folks, we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, to talk about what is going on in free agency in the NBA and talk about some of these other deals going on in the NFL as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a great evening.